There was a time when the British Empire stretched across the globe, and New Zealand was considered the jewel of the South Pacific, a land of opportunity where anyone could build a better life. But in 2025, a significant shift is unfolding. Kiwis are leaving their homeland in record numbers, while Brits are grappling with a severe cost of living crisis that's making international headlines. Over 40,000 New Zealanders left their country in 2023 alone, equivalent to the entire population of Napier relocating. Meanwhile, in the UK, families face difficult decisions between heating their homes and buying food. But here's the question that has economists debating. Which country is under more pressure? Today, we're taking a closer look at the real conditions behind the glossy tourism ads and examining the overlooked reality of what it actually costs to survive in these two nations. What we uncover may challenge how you view the land of the long white cloud and the green and pleasant land. The housing crisis. Let's start with a basic human need, shelter. And here, both New Zealand and the UK are facing serious affordability challenges. In New Zealand, the average home now costs around 770,000 New Zealand dollars, and in Auckland, it's over 1 million New Zealand dollars, about £500,000 sterling. To buy that, you'd need to save every dollar of your pre-tax income for over 11 years, without spending a cent on essentials like food, rent, or transportation. In the UK, the average house is £285,000, but in London it's nearly £670,000, over 12 times the median annual income. And renting? It's not much easier. In Auckland, it's around 3,000 New Zealand dollars per month, which converts to about £1,330 per month. In London, the average rent is £2,500 per month, which is about 5,650 New Zealand dollars. In both cities, that means more than half of the average income goes to rent. The result? For many younger generations, home ownership is no longer a realistic goal. The paycheck gap. Are wages keeping pace with rising living costs? Unfortunately, the answer is no. In New Zealand, the average annual salary is around 62,000 New Zealand dollars, about 31,000 British pounds. In Auckland, rent alone consumes more than half of that income. In the UK, the average annual salary is around £37,000, about 75,000 New Zealand dollars. In London, rent alone consumes nearly 85% of that income. The 2010s marked the slowest wage growth in over 2 centuries. One young person who lived in New Zealand, the UK, and Australia summed it up. New Zealand has the lowest wages and the highest prices. The UK is expensive too, but at least you can earn more. Energy expenses. Energy, vital for light, warmth, and daily life, has become a major cost burden. In the UK, energy bills doubled between 2021 and 2023. Though the average bill dropped from £2,500 to £1,690, it remains far above pre-pandemic levels. One British worker shared, "I'm nearly 30, employed full-time, and I can only afford a room. A one-bedroom apartment shouldn't be out of reach." In New Zealand, energy costs are adding pressure to households already dealing with high housing and food costs. The rising cost of food. Let's talk about food. Another essential survival item. Not fancy stuff, just the basics. Let's dial this down to as cheap as possible, assuming we are on a tight budget. In New Zealand, we will use Pack and Save as an example. And in the UK, Aldi always has bargains. For ease of this example, £1 British pound is just over £1 New Zealand dollar. Bread, $1.45 New Zealand dollars at Pack and Save, and 55 pence at Aldi. Milk, $4.55 in New Zealand and $1.75 in the UK. Butter, $8.49 New Zealand dollars for a 500-gram block and almost £2 for a 250-gram block. Doubled comes to just under £4. Eggs, $8.49 in Pack and Save and £2.89 in Aldi. Chicken, $8.49 in New Zealand and £2.15 in the UK, and you can already see a pattern emerging. In the UK, you can walk into Aldi, grab a basket of these 5 essentials, and walk out spending £11.32. That's about $25.69 in New Zealand money. Now do the same thing at Pack and Save in New Zealand. You're paying $31.47. That's nearly $6 more for the exact same basket. And remember, this is just 5 items. a fraction of what most families need for a weekly shop. Same basket, same basics, just more expensive. The irony? New Zealand is a major producer of dairy and meat, and the UK has strong local agriculture. Yet premium goods are often exported for higher profits, leaving locals to pay elevated prices for everyday basics. The human cost. The financial strain is having real mental health consequences. In the UK, emergency rooms are reporting a surge in patients seeking help for mental health crises, especially among youth aged 10 to 29. New Zealand faces a similar mental health crisis. Due to staffing shortages, the government has proposed using associate psychologists, individuals with less formal training, a plan that over 200 qualified psychologists have publicly opposed. The exodus. When the cost of living becomes unsustainable, people move. In 2023 alone, over 40,000 New Zealanders emigrated, with more than 70% heading to Australia. There, many find better wages and a more manageable cost of living. One New Zealand nurse who moved to Brisbane said, "It's ironic, we welcome others to New Zealand, but we can't afford to stay ourselves." In the UK, more young professionals are looking to relocate to Europe, Asia, or North America in search of stability and opportunity. The numbers tell the story. Auckland homes, over $1 million. London rent, £2,500 monthly. Average wages, they don't even come close. But here's the thing, you're not failing. The math just doesn't add up anymore. Immediate survival strategies. House sharing splits those crushing costs. Stack multiple income streams. Gig work, remote opportunities, skill trading with neighbours. Bulk buying cooperatives stretch your grocery budget. Consider relocating to smaller towns where your income goes further. The reality check? These aren't perfect solutions. They're adaptation strategies for a challenging economic landscape. Housing has become an investment commodity. Wages haven't kept pace with productivity gains. Essential goods are controlled by fewer, larger companies. People are getting creative and desperate. Some are seriously considering van life, converting garages into living spaces, or moving back in with parents well into their 30s. Others are exploring intentional communities, off-grid living, or even relocating to countries with lower costs like parts of Eastern Europe. Some are looking at house-sitting networks, work exchanges, or seasonal employment that includes accommodation. A few are considering tiny house communities, boat living, or co-housing arrangements with multiple families sharing one property. Where real hope exists, community networks, political engagement, and understanding this isn't personal failure. Build mutual support systems, join local advocacy groups, support policy changes that prioritize people over profits. The current system presents significant challenges for ordinary working people. Your generation inherited these economic pressures. You didn't create them. Focus on surviving with dignity while working collectively towards sustainable change. Sometimes the bravest thing is recognizing when the game itself needs changing, not just learning to play it better. Different flags, same struggle. So which country is worse? New Zealand offers a relaxed lifestyle and stunning scenery, but wages remain low and costs are rising fast. The UK has a broader job market and better pay in some sectors, but it also faces deep economic challenges and a prolonged affordability crisis. Here's the hard truth. Both countries are struggling to deliver on the promise that hard work should afford you a decent life. The real question isn't which is better. It's whether either country can fix these problems before a whole generation chooses to leave in search of something more affordable.